So this video won't be the best quality, but I wanted to make a video on standby time requirements. So as everyone knows, I talk about the 60-hour battery requirement constantly. But what many people don't know is that you can actually easily do the math out by hand. You don't need all those complicated sheets. And as you can see by this tab I have open on my computer, we're going to check my math. Focus. So on the early alert system, the standby watts is 5.94 for the panel. This includes the antenna it has. We have two separate sets of 15 amp hour batteries. The total is 30 amp hour at 24 volt. You got to remember we have to drop 15 on each side because we're going up in the voltage. Series versus parallel. We take 30 amp hour and times it by 11.22, this is the power factor, and get a total watts of 336 watts. 336 watts is the power factor it can run at 90 minutes. We then divide that by the standby watts of the panel, and we get a number of 56. We then take 56 times that by 90 and get a whopping 5,090 minutes. We then divide it by 60 to put that into hours, and we get 84 hours. Now, it's important to remember that this calculation that I have set up, this formula, is to run horns at the end of the 60-hour requirement. So let's go up here. Calculation formula comes built in with 48 watts of horn sound off for 5 minutes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have any horns when on the early alert system. So we take the 84, divide that by 3, and we get 28. We add the 84 with the 28 because there's no horns, and we get 112 hours of standby. Now, this seems like a lot of math. Let's check how we did. This is an official calculator site. Whoops. How long will my battery run? 30 amp hour. We take so in this case they wanted it in amps, so we take 2.4. Oh, we take 0.24, excuse me. 0.24. We hit submit, and we get 113 hours. How'd we do there? Pretty good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's another thing. It matters what type of battery you're using. This is why my formula is so great. My formula is catered towards AGM batteries. AGM batteries are by far the best. We always use them. Watch what happens if you use just a standard lead-acid battery. Boom. We just lost 14 hours. These are all things that those sheets will not account for. There we are. I like seeing that number. So the early alert system lasts over 4 days on standby, which is amazing. So let's go back to the math for one more minute, shall we? Let's look at another. Let's look at the main panel. The main panel, watts and standby is 7. This includes its antenna. We have the same battery setup for a total of 30 amp hour. We take again 30 AH, times it by its power factor to get 336 watts. We divide 336 watts by the standby and get 48. We take 48 times it by 90 and get 4,327 minutes. We divide that by 60 and get 72 hours. It's important to remember, ladies and gentlemen, the main panel has horns on it. So we're not adding anything back in. There's no adding here. Calculation formula comes built in with 48 watts of horn sound off for 5 minutes. There is exactly 48 watts on the main panel. The rest of the horns are on the NAC extenders. So knowing this is amazing. Being able to do the math on your own is empowering, and I really do encourage, go right ahead, try it out. You will be amazed. So the regular panel, the main panel lasts 72 hours on standby, but the early alert system, look at that, 112 hours according to my math, and according to the official sheet, we come in at 113. So, very much so. The early alert system is amazing with how long its standby is. 112 hours. It's really, really cool. So 72 hours is 3 days. 96 hours is 4 days. We're doing pretty good. And again, I apologize for the quality of the video, but this is more of just a math section. This isn't meant to be, all up here and pretty.